If you don't want to get overcharged for AI, you're going to want to listen to what I have to say in this video. AI is about to get more expensive, but you can save. Now, what's going on? AI feels like magic a lot of the time. We pay $20 a month and we get unlimited or a lot of credits, access to these AI tools that can do things that normally would cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars in minutes. Well, that's coming back to haunt us. And it's starting at these big AI companies. And I wanted to make sure that you know about it. But there is something that you can do. Okay, so the bill is coming due. And I'm going to explain to you why it's getting more expensive and what token maxing is. And then practical ways that you can save money, especially if you have a small business or you're a coach consultant. Okay, so we use it for everything. We write with it, we code with it, we make websites with it, we automate with it. And now we're going to move from AI magic to AI has a meter running and you're being charged for it. Okay. Big companies are already learning this lesson all over Silicon Valley, all over the world. I'm seeing this left and right, which is why I'm sounding the alarm for you. So, Business Insider reported that companies are dealing with soaring token costs. And the tokens are what are called or what are used every time you put a prompt in, a sentence, instructions into AI. This is going to cause a cap on usage and rethinking more whether more AI usage is productive. So let me tell you what's happening. There's this thing called token maxing. What is that? Well, these big companies like Uber and Facebook and everybody, they told their and they told their employees, and then we started doing this too with our employees with these small businesses. Use AI to the fullest. Use it everything for everything. Make you more productive, which it does, et cetera, right? But that meant like this unlimited amount of usage. And it was called token maxing. Just use as many tokens as you need, as many prompts, as many typing back and forth messages. It's a tiny piece of code or text or information that AI has to read or generate. So every time you ask for something, it reads that prompt, it thinks through the answer, and then it comes back to you or it does something about it. Okay. So think of tokens like electricity. One light bulb is cheap, but a whole warehouse running 24/7 is not. So the problem is that people are now using AI for heavier things, for the big AI agents to code, customer service bots running 24/7, long conversations. I know this from my Authority X Pro, automated workflows, research, etc. So because these businesses said this, and then the smaller businesses saw them say this, they started doing it too. So, what we're figuring out after several months of this is that more AI usage does not necessarily mean more productivity or more optimization or even more value. You can burn a million tokens and still not ship anything, especially if you're working at a company that says it's a free for all. So, several companies are now moving away from unlimited AI and toward token budgets, usage caps, and ROI, return on investment tracking. Imagine that. We're going to take a look at what we're spending. Uber apparently, I heard that Uber blew through all of its credits, all of its token use credits for the year in like 3 or 4 months. So they were like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to pull back. So this matters to you as a small business owner because it's not just a Silicon Valley problem. If you are building a business with AI, your future costs may include your ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. Let me know in the chat what AI platforms you use on a regular basis. Just list them out. If you're using Lovable, like I teach you how to use Lovable and these landing pages, I definitely teach you and have been doing this for months, teaching you about how to be economical about this and be prudent about this. But things need to get even more buckled up. You may have used an API. If you know what that means, you know what that means. It's all good if you don't. You might have been using automations like Zapier. I use Zapier and things like that to connect different apps to each other. So Think about the math of this. If you sell something that uses AI or cloud or any of that, that you're being charged, you're selling it for, let's say you're selling it for $99 a month. And let's say in the past, it has cost you maybe $20 a month per person, for the unit economics, so 20%. It could go up to 50 or even 70% because the models are more expansive and expensive, right? So the models are more and more robust. They're doing crazy things, but you have your price set from 6 months ago or a year ago. So those unit economics are going to be a problem. And in general, if you're not charging for that, if you don't have an AI product, for instance, like I do, authorityxpro.com, I have an AI product. People use it. I pay a certain amount for people to be able to use it. They pay me. I make the economics work. Even if you don't have that, you're paying out of pocket for the chat GPTs of the world, et cetera. So if they decide, hey, instead of giving you X number of credits every month, we're going to give you fewer credits, or instead of having unlimited, we're going to add credits, you need to know that, pay attention to it, and see how you're using it. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if this makes sense to you. You have to kind of know they're going to start charging in a metered way if they haven't started already. So the old way was, how can I use AI as much as possible? The new way is, what result am I trying to get and what is the cheapest reliable way to get it? Do you know that I have 1,400 people inside of my Prompt Shop in a Box program? It costs just $99 or it's part of my 360 pass and you get it included with everything else. And it has been saving you money for months since October 2025 when I first shipped it because I give you the actual prompts in a box. I give you the prompts that you just paste instead of having to figure out two, three, five different back and forths. I just hand you the prompts. Same thing with my Lovable OS that's included in 360 Pass. It gives you all the prompts you need before you go over to Lovable to use it. And so I'm basically taking the bill for that, paying the bill for it. And then you go over to Lovable and you use your prompts and your tokens and your credits very wisely. So the winners in all of this have always been, but especially now will be the people who can say something like, I reduced a client's turnaround time by 80%. Not, I used AI all day long and look what I did. Or I helped a client or a customer answer leads faster. I helped them create content faster. Not, I have the fanciest model over here and I know how to use this and I know what all these big words mean. So there's something, this part, if you have been listening so far, you're still here, I want you to take out a pen or pencil and I want you to write this down because this is going to save you. This probably just saved me at least, at least 6 figures for the next 12 months, maybe 7 figures, meaning maybe more than $1 million. This should save me. And I'm passing it on to you because I want you to have the information as fast as possible. It's called prompt caching, CACHING. You can do a research on this if you want to. But essentially, this is going to be your biggest saver if you have an AI product or if you use an AI product. Prompt caching is one of the biggest things people need to understand. Let me tell you what it is. It means that the AI does not have to reread the same giant block of information every single time it does something. So imagine you hire a consultant and you hand them a 500-page manual. Without caching, every time you ask one question, they reread all the 500 pages and they charge you to do that. And then they answer your question, the one little question. With caching, they would read it once. And again, this consultant is AI, right? But imagine without this, they're reading all these pages. With caching, they read it once. Boom, I got the information. They keep it on their desk for reference, but then they only charge you for the new question. Which one makes more sense to you? Please tell me in the comments. Which one makes more sense to you? This matters if you have long brand instructions, client onboarding documents, customer service rules, refund policies, etc. And on OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, uh, and Anthropic, which is Claude, they have two different ways of handling this. So let's say you use ChatGPT a lot. OpenAI already does prompt caching automatically. So you don't have anything to worry about there. You're just going to know about it and you're just going to keep typing like normal. It's especially true on their most recent models. And you can ask it about this too, just to be sure. Is the model I'm using prompt caching? And the reason you want to do that is because if you're being charged by the credit or if they start charging you by the credit, you don't want to get in the habit of using too many daily or weekly prompts and you don't know that they have this. Now, if they do have it on, which they say they do, it's going to reduce the latency, which means like how long it takes to answer you essentially by 80 up to 80%. And it's going to reduce the token calls by up to 90%. So this is as smart for them as it is for you. Here's the thing though, Anthropic Claude does not do it automatically. You have to tell it, especially if you're using Claude code. If you're ever using Claude code, you need to have a conversation with it and say, I want to do prompt caching without hurting anything. What can I do to make this a little cheaper for me? And then it'll tell you. Okay. There's a certain thing you type in depending on what you're doing. So that's what you have. So ChatGPT is automatic. Claude, and especially Claude Code, you want to have a conversation with it about prompt caching. So if let's say you don't do this, but you have a developer or somebody on your team or somebody who you just hired for a few weeks to work on something for you, you want to talk to them if they're building an AI app, an agent, a chatbot, or a workflow for you. Let's say you just hire somebody or you even do like a done for you service where somebody does this for you one time. You want to have these smart questions for them. You want to say, are you using prompt caching? Are you putting the repeated instructions at the beginning? Are you separating static instructions from changing user info? Can I see the expected usage costs at 10, 100, and 1,000 users? I do this all the time with Authority X Pro because I have to, on a weekly basis, I need to keep up and understand how much is being charged to me so I can make sure that the unit economics work because so many users are using it, right? And it's all AI, so I need to make sure I am not getting overcharged and that it makes sense to sell it at a certain rate. And then you can also ask, what happens if one user uses this really heavily? How does that change the dynamics of how much I'm spending? Now, if you're making a lovable landing page that is simply a static page of a small businesses or consultants or an authors or musicians, their picture and its information and it's, hey, can you get in touch with them? You don't have to worry about this as much. This is not something that where something is being called over and over again. So it's okay. Like Lovable's handling that. What I'm talking about more is like, did you make a chat bot? Did you make something where you're helping people generate images? Again, I have that too. And I have to look at those rates. I have it where you can restore your precious memories, but I have to look at the unit economics. Does it make sense to even offer this because it costs so much? And how can I make it cost less with prompt caching? So here's how you save big. Stop using the best model for every single task. You don't need to have the most expensive frontier model to summarize a document or to clean up formatting, unless you want to, right? But you don't have to. You would instead use older models or faster models or some that are new but fast, kind of like the light version. And you use the bigger premium versions for strategy and complex coding and building AI agents and reasoning and deep, deep, deep stuff like that. You can use cheaper models for sorting, classifying, summarizing, formatting, and getting basic information out. Another way you can save big is to shorten your prompts. A long prompt is not automatically a better prompt. So this is big. This is big because the better the prompt, the better the output, for sure. And I have prompts that are like pages long. And that makes sense. We're learning as we go here. That makes sense now if you're doing something complex. But if you're doing something that's not complex, or if you want to build something beautiful, unlovable, but if you're doing something not complex, you can shorten it. It's better to have a clear goal, clear context, and clear format, especially with clear constraints. Don't have this in it. Don't do this because AI might go for the gusto. Okay. So you don't have to put everything you've ever thought about into the chat. You just need to give the AI the right information at the right time. The third way is to cache repeated context. So we talked about prompt caching. So things like your brand voice that don't change very often, your rules, your terms of service, examples, these types of things, especially if you're training something, training AI, if they can stay default and static and only be updated every once in a while, you can save money. Now, let's say you have something where you're training like a GPT or you're training like Authority X Pro type of thing that I made, and you do want to update it. Like I like to update mine constantly because I always want to make sure it has the best, latest information that I have. Instead of doing like, I'm going to do an update today and tomorrow and the next day and anytime it comes to me, instead create updating tranches or milestones and say, okay, I'm going to, on this day of every month, go in and update from the previous 30 days. And I'll do it in 1 2-hour session. That way, you're not making it change every single time, which itself costs money. It's just like one update, boom, that costs a little money. And now we're going to go keep going. Okay. And next thing you want to do is you want to track your cost per result, not just how many tokens did we use, but how much did it cost to create one lead? How much did it cost to answer one customer, et cetera? In other words, do some accounting and some bookkeeping of this AI usage. Now, let me back up and say, if you are someone who doesn't have any of this stuff I just mentioned, and especially you're not a heavy AI user, what I want you to do instead and really think about, or in addition to, is just go through your bank statement for the past 2 months and see what AI products you're paying for. There's sometimes we get excited about a certain program and we'll just sign up because like in the moment we want to see the results of something and there was like a lead magnet and we did it and then we want to see the results, we pay for it. Then we forget we even have it. So I've saved hundreds and hundreds. I think I saved like $1,200 a month the last time I took my bank statement for the past 60 days or 2 months. I uploaded it to ChatGPT for the one expense. And I said, tell me everything I'm paying for and put it into categories. And then I looked at the category of AI and I'm like, what is that? I don't even use that one. I don't use that one. I don't use that one. Or I use that one, but I could combine these two, or I could go to a lower tier. I do that all the time because sometimes I go to a high tier on something because in that moment I am a power user. But then over time, things change. So you need to take stock of that. Okay. So I just want you to really be smart about pricing with margin, profit margin in mind. If you are being charged a certain amount of money per day or per month or per usage for AI, and you're selling that, you're charged on the back end and you're selling it front facing, you need to make sure the unit economics work. Does it cost me more or almost as much to facilitate this than it does as it does for you to pay me for it? Is that worth it? And people who are making $1,000 side hustle need to hear this. People who are making $100,000 on your consulting business need to hear this. People who are making more than $1 million on your small business need to hear this because every single one of us can save from this. Okay. So if it were me, I would start with a clear outcome. I would know exactly what I'm doing before I go into that AI. And I would take stock and see what AI is actually saving me time. What AI is actually building something for me is something that is making me money or saving me money. And then what AI over here in the sandbox, we call it the sandbox in investing, like I'll tell you what I mean is like let's say you have an investment portfolio and a thesis and you say, okay, I'm going to invest in this type of company, this amount of money every year. What a lot of times what you do is you take 5 to 10% of that total amount and you put it in a sandbox to play, right? Like a child in a playground. You put it in a sandbox to play so that if something comes along that is not part of your thesis or is a different price or something, but you have some sort of gut instinct about it, or you just want to be part of it for impact or for fun or anything, you can take it from your sandbox without messing up your whole portfolio. Same thing I want you to do when it comes to what am I using AI to do? You can use it for like this 5, 10%. I'm going to just pay this thing because I just want to have some fun, make some funny videos with AI, or I just want to have this, make this video game with AI. But then use 90% of it and be very specific about how you're using it and what you're spending on. If that makes sense, let me know in the comments. I hope this helped you save some money. I want to hear about what you do, how you're going to go out and audit your time with AI. And now you know more than 99.99% of people in the whole world.